Leadership and learning. I was wondering when I saw the schedule and the township being at least further than almost near the border with India, I thought, you know, I'll have to spend more time going there than talking over there, so should I really be going? But when I saw that it's Women Institute of Learning and Leadership, and the issues which are being raised over here are so profound that I thought that I must go and listen and learn because it's a learning experience for everybody. And the topic I was given was diversity and inclusion. So I think Naseem really spoke very well on this issue of diversity and how diversity can lead to conflict and how diversity, if it becomes inclusive, can lead to very positive results. So from an economic perspective, if we look at Pakistan's standing in the Committee of Nations, we have clearly, over the last 40, 50 years, lost the race of nations. There is a race of nations going on, and that race has political connotations, but also economic underpinnings. Every nation is striving to become more prosperous, to have more trade, to have more jobs, to develop more. And when we look at Pakistan's rankings in the economic areas, we find that Pakistan ranks almost at the bottom of everything. Very recently, we saw this whole controversy on transparency's ratings, but apart from the fact that the data was probably from the past and not from today, but the real issue was that we are not very transparent and we can do a lot better in those ratings and we deserve to do a lot better. So when we try to analyze it, we have just like in cricket, in economics you also have ratings. So your debt has a rating. Are you AAA? Are you A minus, B plus, C, D, default, etc. But other than that, you have how competitive you are in the world economy. So you have indicators for World Economic Forum saying whether you can compete in the global arena. You have indicators for environment. You have indicators for equality. You have indicators for women development, how they are a part of the overall performance. There are indicators for logistics, all kinds of indicators, and all of these indicators we are really at the bottom of the pile. And when we look at the past 40 years, we look at, there was a time when people thought that Pakistan's economic model was probably the best in the developing world, and we were thought to become the future tigers of the world, but that didn't happen. Korea became the tiger of the world, and Korea, starting in late 60s and early 70s, we were at the same spot. And today, Korea has increased its per capita income 183 times, and Pakistan has only done it 11 times. And if you look at just 20 years back, China has increased its per capita income by 20 times, and Pakistan has only done it 3 times. So clearly there is something missing as far as the Pakistani performance is concerned. And the missing element we need to look at is governance, as Naseem really pointed it out. But to be fair to Pakistan, in the last 40 years, we have been in a constant conflict. The original invasion of Afghanistan by Soviet Union, followed by the collapse of the Berlin Wall. Then we had a break for about 7-10 years. And then you had the 9/11 episode, and since then we have been engaged in one form of terrorism and other forms, multiple forms of terrorism. And when that happens, all the other issues just get swept under the carpet. Now that Afghanistan, maybe there is going to be peace in Afghanistan, our focus will shift towards economic development and growth. And the main ingredients of that, as far as Pakistan is concerned, is the people of Pakistan, because we have a very large population, 6th largest in the world, and a very young population. The youth bulge is huge. So when we look at our working age population, so globally we are the 6th largest population, but the working age population is also the 6th largest in the world. But our labor force is 10th largest in the world. So that brings us to this issue that why is the working age population the 6th largest and why is the workforce 10th largest? And one of the reasons is that lots of women are not part of the workforce, or they are not recognized as part of the workforce. And the indicators which in the first speech the Honorable Member mentioned, the participation rate of women is almost half the participation rate of men. And that has very critical implications for us. So when we are going to cash in on the demographic dividend, then half of their demographics, even more than half, belong to women. And if women are not included in the economic game, then Pakistan cannot really develop. Because that means instead of on 2 wheels, you are on 1.5 wheels. And that makes a very sloppy and very destabilizing kind of economy. So if we look at the kind of diversity in inequality now these days, globally the economists have found out to be a very good topic to write about and talk about, and Thomas Piketty has been talking about how capitalism has led to a lot of inequality and how do you change that. But in Pakistan, we are at a level where we see it all over the place. We see it between rich and poor, very large segments of our population living under the poverty line. Almost 17% have less than $1 a day. And the poor people are all around us, and we are almost immune to them in many ways. We take it for granted that poverty is here. And so we start with income inequality, then we have regional inequalities. Some regions are very backward, other regions are doing somewhat better. Then there is a difference between, there is a rural-urban divide. And the rural areas are way behind the urban areas. And we see that the rural side, the economy is not producing enough. The productivity of the rural areas is probably amongst the worst in the world, because the entire ecosystem of the rural economy, which really is based on research and development, which is based on technology, which is based on developing new ways of agriculture, and also it is based on a lot of women labor, which is not recognized. It's not even recognized in the indicators. So when we look at the rural economy, the ecosystem is based on research and development, in which women have a very low role. So a lot more, I mean, like if you look at research into seed development, new processes, technology development, it's really a male-dominated arena over there. And but when I now go to universities like Faisalabad University of Agriculture, we go to the veterinary schools, it's very interesting to see there are lots and lots of women there. So women are entering in that area where it was a male-dominated enclaves. And so if we further look at that, Pakistan is rapidly changing, the population is moving from the rural areas to the urban areas. And when we see this migration happening to the cities, it is primarily a male phenomenon. So the first migrants are all males, and they come looking for work. And they come to the labor sites. You can see them all over the city looking for jobs. But women don't have that mobility. So the women don't have the option of migrating from a rural area to an urban area without their families. So while the male is going out from his surroundings and moving to new areas, or they are moving abroad in terms of workers going abroad and working over there, predominantly you see that they are males, and female empowerment is not there. So the system or the environment is very hostile for women to become part of the workforce. And that is also a very major impediment for women, that it's not by choice that women are not part of the workforce. The system does not allow women to freely become part of the workforce. For example, I was just very recently looking at a proposal from the women department, and there was this proposal about building hostels for women in the cities. So women can move from rural areas, come to the city for education or for employment, but there is no place where they can live. And so if we have these hostels in cities like Lahore or Islamabad or Pindi, Karachi, etc., which are entirely for women, it might make a difference. And of course, the bureaucracy thinks that, oh, we don't have a policy yet, so how can we make a hostel without having a policy? So it is a bit, but the kind of system we have is very difficult for women to be part of that. But apart from women, even our children, there's a diverse group of children in this country, and probably the world's largest population of stunted children is in Pakistan. And we have, as a nation, failed to protect our children. And basic nutrition, right from the birth of the child to adolescence, is not guaranteed. Then another exclusion is children out of school. We probably have the largest number of children out of school almost 20 million, which is huge. And Punjab alone has probably around 10 million children out of school. And can you imagine a child who will grow up without any school? And what would that child do in an economy which wants skills, and in an economy where it is a knowledge economy? And such large number of children will have no knowledge. And this could be the worst. I mean, it's almost a crime that they are out of school. And so I think we really need to work on these, because ultimately it comes back to the issue of how good your economy is going to be. Are you going, if you are the 6th largest country in the world, is your economy going to be the 6th largest economy in the world? Because that will determine the prosperity of your people, which means that you have to really mobilize the people, and you have to teach them and equip them and provide the skills, right from basic education to technical and vocational education, right up to PhDs and post-PhDs. The entire system has to be such that we give equal opportunity to every Pakistani child and every Pakistani woman and male to be able to participate in that system. And I think that is what nation building is all about. And I think this kind of seminars and conferences where you talk about these issues of inclusion, I think we need to do a lot more of that. And hopefully all of these recommendations will one day become part of life, a part of our policies, and we empower our people, whether they are children, women, or male, to become full members of our economy. Thank you very much.